Alrighty, here we are. So I've been fiddling around with this thing. Took me forever to figure out how to get this off. It should have just been a cover, but it was glued on. So I ended up having to thread into it and pull using some stuff. So it didn't do what I was hoping. I was hoping that was just a cover that I could pull a nut out with. But as you can see, I was thinking that would be my lead screw, but it's not. It just, oh, hold on, I can't hold on to anything. It's keyed. It's kind of like a PTO shaft that goes to my lead screw. You can see it right in there. Right in there. So I've got to figure out how to get that out. There's some parts. Here's the carriage. So I'll probably salvage some of these parts, but this is some kind of a pump type deal. I'm not exactly sure how that's supposed to work. There's the lead screw for the threading, and I got that one is for your it turns when the spindle turns to for your feeds and speeds or feeds, whatever you call them. But this one on the bottom, I cannot figure out how to get it out of there. I may have to just cut it right there, which I really didn't want to do, but it's in my way. So what I'm thinking is, it looks like this was where the lubrication was sent out to everything else in the carriage. So what I'm thinking I can do is pull that, or make me something that looks like it went through there. Maybe there's some kind of rubber gasket, I don't know. But I think I can make something that will attach to this and go to like a little manual pump thing that I bought off of eBay. It's just got a little lever. It actually looks like this thing. So that's what I'm thinking about using on the bottom. That way I can give it a shot every once in a while when I feel like it. Ow, that hurt. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to go ahead and try and take this off at some point. I'm getting hungry, so I may give this a rest for the day. And to be honest with you, I am seriously considering completely doing away with this thing and making my own. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, but I've considered it. I've got a, looks like a precision edge. What I thought about doing is coming this way with an indicator and seeing how precise this is. And this. And I could actually go along this and this and have linear rails and actually run everything off of those linear rails. But again, I don't know if I want to do that yet. For now, I just want to see it move and actuate and do what I'm expecting it to do. But anyway, this is apart and freed up, and you can move it like that. Seems like it's an awful lot of effort to move this thing. I could be, I don't know, but moving it seems to be rather tough to do, which is why I was thinking of those linear rails. But you know, actually it's not that bad once you get it moving. I don't think it's got any real lubrication on the ways either, so I'll have to figure that out and work that out too. But yeah, there's how far I've gotten. It's apart in a lot of pieces, and there's the apron. So this thing was kind of a pain to get off. I took a lot of this stuff off, and I'm probably gonna mess with a little bit more of it. This is some kind of a little pump. Yeah, there it is. So it actually pulled from the sump. And when you pulled this out, you can hear it. Well, you can't hear it now, but there it goes. I can feel it with my finger. So I think all I'm going to have to do is figure out a way to connect to that piece with my other pump. So that actually makes it a little bit easier. Use the casting to shove the fluid out. But there's really not much else in this thing that's worth showing you, I don't think. But I love watching this stuff and seeing how it works. It's really cool. The one rod went through here and it's keyed, and that was the feeds and speeds. There's some kind of a gearbox down there. I can't really see it from here, but anyway, this was I think, yeah, this was the crank. So you can see it turning this gear back here, which went on this rack here. So that's how you could turn it. I almost wish I could figure out a way to make that work and just run the motor on it, but I don't think it would be as accurate as the ball screw in the long run. So what I'm probably going to end up having to do is make a bracket, drill and tap into this somehow, have a bracket that comes out with a bearing for the end of my ball screw that goes through here to over there, which I've got that taken apart right now. I'll probably use this to get my hole spacing that I need and make another bracket that screws in here and comes out here and gives me a place for it to mount the motor and all that kind of stuff over here. So the motor will kind of hang out here. My other motor, what I'm considering doing is mount it up under here for this way instead of it sticking out, because I'd like to keep this as short as possible. So instead of having all these knobs and stuff out here, I'd like to keep this as short as I can. And what I thought about doing is right in here have like a pulley, not a pulley, timing gear and a timing belt that comes through here and down to the motor that's mounted up under here somehow. I don't know if I'll have the room to do that. Worst case, I could also put one out here, put a bigger one, and then come down here to a smaller one to give me a little bit higher or lower gearing with the doodad. But if I do that, then that would keep the motor from being, you know, out here somewhere. So I've got a closed loop NEMA 24 that I may use to run this, because that's really, it don't take that much to go in and out on this one. It takes some juice to pull this one. So that one I'll probably do a NEMA 34 out here, and I may gear it down as well. So I may mount the motor itself here with a little pulley or a little gear, timing gear, and come out here to a bigger timing gear to kind of gear everything down. And that way, again, your other doodad would be over here. The motor itself would be mounted out this way. And then when I put my cover and stuff out here, I could just come just out here like this. Maybe even have it sort of extend in here a little bit to where if any fluid or anything gets on this, it would wash in. And then have this where the motor is actually out here and not in the enclosure itself. I don't know. I'll figure that one out when I get to it. The biggest thing I'm trying to do right now is just get it running. So I have just about decided to make this air cylinder driven. I've got some air cylinders. I could take this out. It looks like it's already loose. I could take this out altogether and take the lead screw out and figure out a way to put an air cylinder into it to where the air cylinder actually drives it and mounts here. I've got a couple air cylinders that I could use to do that with. I just don't think they're very big. So I need one that's got a pretty big bore rod, whatever you call it, to where I can get a lot of PSI pushing and pulling. And I could always have a regulator where I can just turn the PSI up or down in order to push harder or softer. That way, again, I avoid having to put hydraulics on this thing, which I really don't want to have to put a hydraulic motor on this. I want it to use air if necessary and power, and that's it. This one, I've got to run a hydraulic motor for a bunch of stuff, and again, I'd rather not have to run hydraulics on this one if I can help it. It's just one more thing to have to deal with and add to it and all that stuff. So anyway, it's kind of a shame that all of this stuff is basically useless. It kind of stinks. All those gears I'm not even going to use, but hey, it is what it is. So I've got a good casting that I can use. And like I said, this thing is actually quite heavy. I mean, everything about it's built pretty well. It's just kind of, from what I understand, this was sort of like the, what do you call it? Like the cheaper kind of lathe.